Close your eyes right now, step away from the comforts of the modern world, and listen to a terrifying sound tearing through the quiet night of the Ice Age. It is the deep, blood-curdling, and commanding roar of a saber-toothed tiger. This is an ultimate apex predator of the prehistoric world, armed with massive canine teeth that measure up to 20 centimeters long, looking exactly like sharp, deadly daggers. The frozen ground beneath your bare feet begins to vibrate slightly from the heavy, rhythmic thumping steps of a giant herd of woolly mammoths migrating through a blinding blizzard. In this wild, unforgiving environment of hundreds of thousands of years ago, we solitary humans were undeniably one of the weakest, most fragile, and most vulnerable species on the face of the planet. We completely lacked sharp claws to tear flesh. We lacked thick fur to endure the sub-zero cold, and we did not possess the blinding speed required to flee from fierce, hungry beasts. Every single step an ancient human took outside the safety of the dark cave was a high-stakes gamble with their very existence. A simple walk into the tall grass could mean a sudden, violent death under the paws of a predator lurking in the shadows. Yet, evolutionary history has proven a magnificent, unbelievable paradox that altered the fate of the planet completely. Those fragile, naked, and physically weak creatures were not crushed into oblivion by the fangs of wild predators. Instead, they reversed the table in a spectacular historic fashion across the millennia. They slowly pushed the old rulers of the primeval wilderness into a corner, rising to become the absolute undisputed masters of the entire global food chain. Let us travel back in time to explore this intense life-and-death struggle, understanding the exact weapons, psychological insights, and complex tactics ancient humans used to tame the giant beasts of prehistory. The first weapon, and undoubtedly the most potent psychological shield that altered humanity's status forever, was the control of the sacred fire. Before our ancestors learned to tame fire, humans lived in absolute paralyzing terror of the dark, which was the exact time large cats awoke to hunt. But once Homo sapiens learned the art of maintaining and utilizing fire, they erected an impenetrable glowing wall of protection around their living spaces. In the natural world, every wild animal, no matter how fierce, massive, or hungry it may be, carries an innate, deeply ingrained fear of the intense heat and the total unpredictability of dancing flames. A blazing, crackling fire at the cave entrance provided vital warmth, but more importantly, it sent a stark, powerful warning. It forced the most dangerous predators to halt their advance, growl in frustration, and retreat back into the heavy shadows of the forest. Not stopping at passive defense, ancient humans turned fire into an active, highly coordinated, and ruthless offensive weapon. Upon detecting a pack of dangerous predators lurking around their living area, prehistoric warriors would gather to light thick wood branches, creating massive, bright torches. They shouted loudly in unison, creating a wall of terrifying sound while waving the burning torches to mimic a giant, moving beast of light. They cooperated beautifully to encircle, trap, and drive the predator away from their women and children. A combination of flickering light, searing heat, and the terrifying synchronized screams of humans shattered the predator's psychological system completely. It instantly transformed a fierce, dominant hunter into a panicked, terrified creature fleeing for its life into the deep primeval forest. However, relying on fire alone could not bring down the giant beasts with thick hides and massive bones, such as woolly mammoths or woolly rhinoceroses. The true ultimate weapon of ancient humans did not lie in individual muscle power, but in collective intelligence and the ability to borrow strength from the natural terrain itself. Our ancestors were absolute masters of observing, analyzing, and reading the surrounding environment down to the smallest detail. They understood every single path of the animal herds, they knew where steep cliffs stood, where deep mud swamps lay, and they turned all these geographical features into lethal, massive traps. They used the earth itself as a weapon, proving that intelligence could easily overcome brute force. The most classic, effective, and epic hunting tactic of the Stone Age was the large-scale pitfall trap dug along the migration routes of the prey. Ancient humans spent weeks of hard, exhausting labor, using crude wooden digging sticks and sharp stones to create deep, massive pits beneath the forest trails. At the bottom of the pit, they firmly planted large wooden stakes that had been meticulously sharpened and fire-hardened to achieve the toughness of biological steel. The mouth of the pit was camouflaged with extreme care, using fragile branches, fallen leaves, and loose soil. It looked completely identical to the safe forest floor, ensuring even the wisest, most experienced beasts could not detect the mortal danger lying just a step away. When everything was fully prepared, the epic world-altering hunt would officially begin with the active participation of the entire tribe. The youngest, fastest, and most agile warriors took on the high-risk role of live bait, deliberately approaching the giant herd to draw their attention. They used loud shouts, blew through animal horns, and pounded heavily on animal hide shields to provoke the prey's anger, forcing it into a wild, blind chase. They guided the raging beast precisely toward the prepared trap, gliding over the pit opening easily due to their nimble, lightweight bodies. The giant beast, weighing several tons, carrying immense forward momentum, would step onto the fragile camouflage, crush the branches, and crash into the deep pit in absolute terrifying helplessness. As soon as the giant prey was trapped and wounded by the sharp stakes below, the entire tribe would instantly flood out from the surrounding bushes like a tidal wave. This was the exact moment long-range weapons spoke, ending the dangerous era of bloody high-risk close combat. Ancient humans invented long, balanced spears tipped with sharp silicon stones, paired with the atlatl spear thrower. The atlatl was a brilliant wooden lever that multiplied the launching force and distance several times over, acting as an extension of the human arm. Asked from the absolute safety of the pit edge, they continuously hurled spears deep into the prey's thick flesh, draining its vitality slowly, methodically, and safely until the grand beast exhausted completely and collapsed into the dust. Against dangerous, highly intelligent, and cunning pack hunters like the Ice Age wolves, ancient humans adopted a profound evolutionary strategy. Instead of a brutal war of extermination, they chose a path of deep behavioral manipulation, turning a fierce enemy into their closest ally. They recognized that wolves possessed excellent scent, tracking capabilities, and pack coordination, but also faced severe starvation during the harsh, frozen winters. Instead of trying to eradicate them, prehistoric humans actively left bone scraps, fat, and meat leftovers around the edges of their caves, after each successful hunting season offering a peace treaty of food. Those hungry, freezing wolves initially approached the scraps with extreme timidity, low growls, and high caution. But over generations, this peaceful, rewarding interaction slowly reduced their fierce instincts toward the human species. The wolves realized that living near sapiens tribes brought them a stable, reliable, and much safer food source than hunting alone in deadly blizzards. This silent, beautiful domestication process transformed wild wolves into the first domestic dogs in history, creating the most loyal, protective friends of humanity. The permanent appearance of dogs beside the campfire granted ancient humans the most perfect early warning system existing in nature. With sharp ears able to detect microfrequencies of sound, and noses able to scent a predator from kilometers away, dogs would instantly bark to alert the tribe whenever a threat sneaked close in the dark. The combination of human intellect and the optimized senses of the dog created an invincible survival alliance, wiping out threats from other predators. It was an evolutionary masterpiece where two different species united to dominate the wilderness. This life-and-death struggle between ancient humans and wild beasts left a deep, permanent mark inside the evolutionary psychology of modern humans today. Observe how we react to the world around us, even in our civilized lives. The intense, sudden fear of reptiles like snakes, centipedes, or venomous spiders, even while living in sterile apartments in megacities, is the protective whisper of ancestors etched into the human genome. Those prehistoric humans who knew fear, stayed cautious, and jumped away from venomous creatures were the ones who survived to pass down their bloodlines to us today. Looking back at that grand epic journey across the landscape of time, we realize that the greatest strength of humanity has never lain in muscle claws or brutal physical weapons. The ultimate power of Homo sapiens has always rested in tactical thinking, flexible large-scale cooperation, and turning the entire environment into a survival advantage. Our ancestors used pure intellect to tame the old kings of the wilderness, opening a new chapter where humans master the destiny of the planet completely. We are the children of those brilliant tacticians who looked into the eyes of giants and refused to be conquered. We live in a world where the giant predators of the Ice Age have faded into the past, remaining only in museums or wild nature reserves. The threat of claws and fangs is no longer present every day, but the ancient lessons of courage, teamwork, and environmental sharpness remain fully valuable. Cherish the fire of intellect that ancestors spent millions of years lighting and passing down into your veins. Use it to overcome every challenge, every darkness of modern life, and continue to walk proudly toward a wide-open future ahead.